Rainwater tanks. Even Google knows that rainwater tanks are a core element of WASAD in Australia. But how many people know how to calculate the demand on a rainwater tank in order to figure out how big the tank should be, what the performance will be? Typically, people use certain heuristics to figure out the demand on a rainwater tank, and then they redo over and over and over music models to try to figure out what the reliability of the rainwater tank is, i.e. how much time out of 100%, how much time the tank will provide the required demand. Now, I'm going to teach you a far easier way to handle this. Obviously, go to cleanstormwater.com.au or stormability.com.au. You log in here in the login button top right, and as you log in, you get to the Stormgate portal. In the Stormgate portal, at any address, you press on the rainwater tank tools. And how do the rainwater tank tools work? Well, it has 3 sections, and you can use 1, 2, or all of the sections. First of all, you have the indoor occupancy calculator. This will allow you to figure out, depending on the guidelines, what demand you should have for your site. So if your site is a school or a factory or a theater, you should use the South Australian guidelines, which are quite comprehensive. If your site is more of a residential situation and you're in Queensland, use the Queensland guidelines, use the New South Wales guidelines, so on and so forth. Such as the Queensland guidelines, you have some data tables. In the New South Wales guidelines, you have some further information per household and the demand per occupant in New South Wales as well, with data tables and everything. All of this, indoor occupancy calculator, how many occupants you have in that location, in that development that you have, then the demand per occupant. And again, even if you use South Australian guidelines here, you can have the demand per occupant here, right? So they're not really dependent on each other, and that's how it should be. How many people are going to use your water? How much water per person? And then the irrigation demand calculator using the Queensland guidelines. And our software is so smart, it even tells you the annual evapotranspiration, and you have a coefficient and the total landscape area. All of it with little question marks, so you can understand what's happening. And now the most important part, coup de grace, things that nobody else can do. You can put here your area of catchment of roof that goes to the rainwater tank, and let's see your demand from occupancy irrigation. You all got all this information from up here. And the most important part here is graph it, which nobody else in the world, as far as I know, has it, which is a really cool feature. Literally, it tells you percentage of demand met and the volume reused, right, on this graph, depending on the tank size. So if your tank size is 11 kiloliters, you will meet 95% of the demand. If your tank size is 5 kiloliters, you'll meet 82% of demand. Also, you have discharge reduction here for the same tank size. So let's say if I say my tank size is 4,500 liters, I can calculate my reliability right here is 79%. So some councils require 80% reliability. And actually, I can get my pollutant reductions for this rainwater tank, and I can download the MSF. And I'm going to download this MSF. You see it here, downloaded MSF. And I've opened the MSF with music. Mount Alexander, default catchment, 1,000 square meters roof. And then we have a rainwater tank, 4.5 kiloliters, and the legal point of discharge. And the beauty, when I come back here, I can actually also generate a report. And this report is going to allow me to see all the information about the rainwater tank with the graph. Now, I didn't put any demands or anything in it or any occupants, and it's going to have the occupants as well if I put the occupants. Now, I know that in Victoria, ESD consultants and all around Australia, water engineers are struggling. I know I've struggled. How do I figure out what my demands to my rainwater tank is? And a lot of times people spend a bunch of hours trying to figure out what their demand is and do this calculation and optimize this rainwater tank solution. Please feel free to use the rainwater tank tool. It's gonna make it really easy for you guys. 5 minutes, you get your demand, so you get your occupancy, so how many people live in that or use water in that site that you're developing. You get your demand per person. The tool allows you to do that, and then you graph it so you can choose the right size of the tank for whatever reliability you want or whatever flow reduction you want. Then after that, you just have the report tool, which helps you with everything. And you can download the music model so you can introduce it in your more complex modeling or for whatever reason you want. Thank you very much for coming to these 5 minutes of knowledge. See you next time.